to the ashes. The spirits light up the night.
Now, we're live from the Untold Radio Network. It's Untold Radio AM with Monster Quest producer, host Doug Hajicek, and co-host Jeff Perrella Jr. Untold Radio AM is going live right now.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, how are you, Jeff?
I'm great.
How is everybody in chat? Looking good. Normally, I'll send some invites out, right?
Yeah.
Didn't have time today. So
Busy day, huh?
Yeah, kind of nuts today. And I worked all night last night, through the night, got an hour's sleep, did the same thing yesterday, so I'm just kind of like, wow.
Zombie? Yeah, I've been busy as heck, too.
Zombie, man. But anyhow, so we've got a really cool show tonight.
Yeah, for sure.
We've got Lyndsey and Charlie Raymond on, research team from Kentucky. And they have a group, by the way, that just flipped 50,000.
That's awesome. Good for them.
That's amazing. It's a lot. I mean, that's the population of my entire city.
Yeah. That's almost 3 times the size of my hometown.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's great. But these guys are a research team. They run the Kentucky Bigfoot Research Organization. And like I said, they just topped 50,000. I'm pretty sure that's correct. And probably maybe they're at 60 now. But we're going to talk about, obviously, their research. And then we're going to talk about a new category that not necessarily is something they're doing, but it's a new category that I think everybody needs to do when the opportunity arises. And there's even ways you can set traps to get this kind of evidence. So we'll talk about
interesting
that.
Stuff. Looking forward to talking about it.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that, and that'll kind of be rolled into the whole show today. But I do want to mention there is a new convention that one of our own, Loretta Collins and Mark DeWorth, have started in New York. It's the New York Bigfoot Conference.
Yeah.
How did they ever think of that name? You always think these things they would be taken, right? But anyhow, so I want to congratulate them on that. That's this fall, October 3rd and 4th, as I remember. And there's a little teaser spot that we can run.
Yeah.
And people can get their tickets soon when they go on sale. So go ahead and run that, Jeff.
You bet. And hit play.
Coming this fall to New York, the first annual New York Bigfoot Conference. On October 3rd and 4th, 2025 at the Holiday Inn Conference Center in Johnstown, Gloversville. With an amazing speaker lineup, including Dr. Jeff Meldrum, Cliff Barrickman, Renee Holland, Adam Davies, and Dr. Esteban Sarmiento, with Mark DeWorth as Master of Ceremonies. The event is hosted by Loretta Collins and Mark DeWorth. Tickets go on sale soon to the New York Bigfoot Conference. Don't miss it.
That's quite a lineup of speakers.
Oh, man, great lineup. I really hope they will. Loretta's such a great friend of the show. Yeah. I wish her the best.
Yes. So I think it'll be a big success.
I don't
know how it couldn't be. I mean, you've got Loretta and Mark DeWorth, who's extremely experienced. Mark puts on the biggest probably conference, the Ohio.
Oh yeah,
Bigfoot conference in May. And so I don't know how it can be a miss. Can't be. It won't be.
Plus, what a great lineup of guests. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah. So anyhow, so let's get this beast rolling.
Yep.
Let's do a little bit of news. I don't have a ton. We're going to kind of breeze through everything and get all of our guests on so we can talk Bigfoot.
All right, a little bit of news first. Here we go.
Untold Radio news that can be a bit weird is right now.
Anyhow, so scientists are apparently speaking out about a remarkable discovery. Millions, not thousands, millions of eggs near an underwater volcano off the west coast of Canada. You want to throw up photo one. This is what the eggs are from. It's a skate, better known as some kind of stingray.
Mm-hmm.
But what's so
Ray
cool?
sharks are related.
But what's so cool about this? The eggs incubate for 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Why?
That's unusual. That's wow. I've never heard anything like that.
Yeah, and apparently there's millions of these eggs. Now, this is off the west coast of Canada. And it says here, it was in the USA Today on May 20th. So was that yesterday, I guess. Apparently it challenges what they consider the possible, what's possible for life on the planet, because it's down 2 miles deep.
That's amazing.
But people have always wondered where, like, squid lay their eggs, for instance.
Right.
I mean, that's a lot of them they don't even know yet. It's never been witnessed, never seen. And so they found this, and I think it's kind of cool.
Really cool. That's a recurring theme we have, is finding out how much we don't know.
Yes, exactly.
Something to keep in mind. There's so much we don't know. If anyone that thinks they've got it all figured out, nope, you don't.
Well, apparently they use their vents, Jeff, for the incubation, the heat from the vents.
For 10 years. That's
10
crazy.
years. That's what's weird to me. So it says the hot mineral-rich fluid keeps the surrounding water toasty, providing ideal conditions for some marine creatures to survive in the deep sea. So there you go.
Crazy.
So next time you bitching about humans, I've got a grandchild coming in like 2 months, or excuse me, 2 weeks, and it's
exciting.
ticking by, like ticking.
Sure.
Because when you have a grandchild, it's no different really than having your own kid. You're just as you're worried about mom and the baby.
Yeah.
On a whole new level. So anyhow,
exciting stuff.
I'm excited to have another one. Okay, what do we got next? U.S. baby receives the first ever customized CRISPR treatment for genetic disease. This is huge. And the reasons it's huge is because this system, no doubt, will be used to prevent cancers and other diseases, or fix diseases, where they can take somebody that's got some type of arthritis, and they go in there and they can clip out that genetic data and get rid of it and replace it with ones from a healthy person.
Wow.
So it's kind of cool. Anyhow, so let me read this just a little bit. So this is a world's first. A baby in the U.S. received a personalized CRISPR-based gene therapy that corrects a specific mutation in his DNA. A baby born with a rare, devastating genetic condition has become the first person ever to be successfully treated with personalized CRISPR therapy. The baby's 9.5 months old right now and thriving.
Oh, wow.
So I think it's just a miracle. And this is where mechanical, biological sciences are getting so good in operations and surgery and, doing this CRISPR technology.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. I got to talk to the doctor who invented IVF on the phone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was really cool. I wouldn't mind getting them on. I don't know if you would, but those are the guys that you just go, wow, this is big stuff, There we go. All right. Then we've got kind of some bad news, I guess. Misleading claims on outdated formulas of most sunscreens. Apparently, they fail to fully protect people, report says. So this explains why I don't even wear sunscreen, never have. I don't like it. I don't wear it. Burns my eyes, don't feel right, and I just don't wear it. But let me read here what it says. It says a new report is shining light, no pun, on the safety and effectiveness of sunscreen products sold in U.S. stores. So apparently the Environmental Working Group published a 2025 annual guide to sunscreen, finding that fewer than 1 in 4 SPF products met its criteria. So not only did they tested 2,200 products, they found that fewer than 500 effectively protected the user's skin. The other problem, of course, it goes on to talk about the other potential health concerns with other, everything from fragrances to other chemicals like benzene contamination and so on. These are the things people are slathering on their kids. And I'm not giving advice. I just don't know. But for me, I just said, nope.
People, conspiracy people have been talking about that for a long time about how sunscreen's bad. And
well, it blocks your
maybe they're right.
D.
Yeah.
I mean,
You need
already
sunshine.
it's bad.
Yeah.
It says that 36% of said products this year included allergens and hormone disruptors and carcinogens. So this is the stuff, once again, like I said, we're slathering on our babies and our kids. So I don't know. Just do your own homework.
Yeah, for sure.
Do your own homework. Or go like me. Just use a hat.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
Yeah.
And
I burn easily, so I like to wear big hats.
And then last but not least, we have another invader that doesn't sound very good. We thought the fire ants were bad, right? Now we have the Asian needle ant. I don't like the name needle.
No, that's
any bug with the name needle in it. It's not a good bug.
Doesn't sound good.
Run. Go the other way. It says already a well-known hazard in the South. All right, is now expanding its reach into other parts of the nation. Apparently, these things are spreading all the way up into Washington State. That's not good news. So the venomous Asian needle ant is spreading across the Southeast and beyond, apparently appearing in parts of California and as far north as New York and Washington, which means, Jeff, they'll probably make it into Minnesota at some point. Yeah. It says they're native to parts of East Asia. What isn't?
Yeah.
That this species thrives in disturbed landscapes and warm conditions. So if you're doing like a construction site.
Sure.
And they're saying these things have a way of like getting in your house, It says they have the ability to adapt to urban and rural areas.
That's all we need.
Yeah.
More invasive species.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you've ever been bit by fire ants, Jeff.
No, I heard it's miserable though.
It's not good. Well, it's like in certain areas in Florida, like if you're on a lawn, maybe in northern Florida, you don't want to be standing one place like I did one time. I was filming a show. I'm standing there. It was I don't know. I don't remember if it was at night or in the day. I'm standing there and I got invaded up the leg by a whole bunch of fire ants.
Oh, that's not good.
And of course they head right for your crotch and they start stinging.
No.
So I had to strip my clothes off in front of all sorts of people. Just
give them a show. Oh, that's not good.
You don't even think about it, Jeff. You just do it.
Yeah.
So apparently a single sting can trigger anaphylactic shock, a potential fatal reaction. And says, why is this ant invasion important? The Asian needle ant expansion is part of a broader pattern of invasive species disrupting our ecosystems. So there you go. Another Asian immigrant animal that we have.
Another critter to avoid.
Yeah, they might as well just import them all. Just get it over with. Just bring them all over. Every damn thing. Do you think?
No, thanks. I got enough problems with stuff. I have an invasive tree in my yard that I cannot kill. It's apparently I've been told it's from China.
Oh,
and it's this fast growing tree. It grows like a weed, and I've cut it down below ground level into this ground twice a year, and it just keeps coming back. I cannot kill the damn thing.
Huh. Why don't you let it grow out?
Because it'll take over everything in the yard. It grows so fast it'll take over everything in the yard.
See what it does.
Well, it's in a place that I don't really want a tree. I mean, it's in a landscaped area where there's plants and whatnot. I don't want a tree there.
Knowing these invasive plants, it'd probably go after your water pipes.
Probably. That's all I need. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That's enough of that crap. All right. Let's. I want to just. So everybody's getting inundated with AI stuff, AI, but it does a magical job of animating. It
Yeah.
does. I mean, for as young as it is, it's weird. It also draws creepy creatures really, really well, right? Have
Yeah.
you seen these new baby ones where they take like the cast of Breaking Bad and they turn them all into babies, or
Yeah.
The Sopranos or whatever? It does an amazing job of shrinking and making these people look like they're two
Yeah.
or one or whatever. Have you seen this?
Yeah. I'm not sure it's a good or bad thing. It's
Well, they nail it.
crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but at some point, it's just getting weird. Where's it go? Where are we going to be 20 years from now? There's going to be so many fakes. And by the way, they're also using it to clone websites like in seconds. Like
Mhm.
they can take a website and clone everything on their website, including all their pay information, card information. You need to pay attention to the damn web address when you start buying stuff
Mhm.
online. If you even think for a moment it ain't right, look it up, Google it yourself, and compare it.
You don't
they're
ever
doing-
click on anything in an
they're
email ever.
planting, paid ads all over.
Yeah.
And then they have 80% off on an item. So they're playing on people's greed. They go and click it and put their credit card number, and they're messed at that point. So just be aware of that. But anyhow,
Okay.
back to AI. So they took this, it's creative. They took a bunch of kids' drawings and they turned them into real objects
Mhm.
using AI. And I thought, well, it's at least a cute use of it, right?
Yeah. It's pretty fun.
And I picked out some of the clips and I thought they
Yeah.
were kind of fun. So let's go ahead and play clip one real quick. This is, you see the kids drawing in the bottom corner. And there's what AI did with it. There's the picture the kid drew. Anything might inspire a whole group of engineers. Lopsided and everything.
Yeah. That's fun.
It's fun. I'm just like, oh my God, where is this going? Clip 2 is the same kind of thing, except I think there's birds or whatever. Just play it. I have no idea. Oh, cars. Look at the picture, though. That's where it's fun. You look at the kid's picture. Here's the doggy
Oh, that's
kid
creepy.
drew. And AI loves to draw these creepy creatures. AI just loves it. It does such a good job. There you go. There's a wiener bee. A heart. There you go.
Wow.
All right. Let's see what else. Let's see. Let's do one more. I think there's another one.
There's two more actually.
Oh, there's two more. Okay, we'll just go ahead and play them. I don't need to introduce them.
1 second here. Oop, wrong one. There we go.
You need that card, Jeff. That's got you written all over it, man. I want that one.
I was that kid that drew cars all the time too.
Yeah. That's just
I
fun.
drew a little bit better than that, but not much.
But think about how this is going to unleash some creativity. Every kid under 4 is going to be Steven Spielberg quality movies.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
My nieces are both really, really good at that. They just use an iPad with the built-in video software, and they make the two of them together make little mini movies, little clips. It's incredible stuff they do. They're so creative. It's really neat stuff.
That's it. Okay, well, that's enough of that. I'm going to let's go up and throw photo 5 up. And I just want to talk about this a little bit, and then we're going to just bring Charlie and Lyndsey on, and then we're going to just talk about research. But I wanted to get this out of the way. I put this out 12/27/19. It was almost 1999, just barely turned into 2020. So it's quite a long time ago. And it's kind of when all my bells went off and went, we need to pay attention to these, fingerprints.
Mhm.
which I even blew off for 20 years. Just blew them off. People are still blowing them off, thinking, it's whatever. Uncle Harry touched the car. But when you really look at them and, and not all the prints that I see, but a lot of them, there's kind of a thick surface skin lipid or skin
Mhm.
oil that's left behind. It's very waxy, sticky.
Hard to remove.
Hard to remove. And what's really cool about these, and I've been collecting for many people, so nobody can point to one person, oh, their stuff's fake, or they're all so similar. And I've been collecting for many, many people for many years now. But throw up, the most important thing is the photo. I think it's photo 6. And here's what's important. Every primate has their own chemical compounds in the oil,
Mhm.
right? And that work has already been done. They've done gorillas, they've done orangutans, chimps, they've done humans, obviously. But we've never done a Bigfoot. Does it land right in the human realm? Does it land right in the gorilla realm? Or is it something different? I suspect it's something a little different because it seems to be thicker than any of these
And that's
primates.
consistent too. We've seen a lot of them like that.
Yeah, it's kind of a white thing. And I remember I talked to Shelley Covington, Montana, and say, why don't you name this stuff? And she came up with Sasquatch alba vernix. And vernix is the white substance, that waxy stuff that babies are born to protect them.
Mm-hmm.
And alba just means white. So there you go.
Interesting.
So it's kind of this white wax. And I just feel it's really important. And later on, we're gonna talk a little bit and just what Lyndsey thinks. Is this going to be an important future, or is this a nothing burger? I don't know. It seems like it's a nothing burger because no one's done anything with it.
I think there's going to be a lot of data that we're going to discover there, to be honest. We'll see.
Well, it's 3D evidence because you have the chemical compounds, you have the latent details, which I know Lyndsey has some experience in throughout her life as a police officer. But I also know that there should be sloughed off DNA in this skin oil. And so we're addressing those all in Legimine science. I'm trying to get as many latent people as I can and as many labs as we can to analyze this stuff. So, yeah, I just wanted to get that out of the way. It's pretty cool stuff. Oh, I was going to mention, like humans, we have Homo sapiens have squalene, cholesterol esters, wax. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Monesters,
monoesters.
Yeah, oxidation, end products such as they have triglycerides, free fatty acids, diglyceride cholesterol. That's something that gorillas don't have. Excuse me. And what's the last one say?
Polar lipids.
Oh, there you go. Yep, polar lipids. So those are things that are found in human. And you go into non-human, and they have saturated paraffins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, every species is a little bit different.
Yeah, it's a little bit different. And it's a completely, almost a fingerprint that you can do with gas chromatograph. So you can do a fingerprint. And so I think in the future, this is going to be a big deal. It's maybe not now, but I want to push it. And that's what we're going to, we're going to spend a little bit of our time tonight talking about it and showing some of these photos. Anyhow, on to Raymond and Lyndsey. Or is it Lyndsey and Raymond, Jeff?
Charlie.
Charlie and Lyndsey. And Raymond. Charlie. I just talked to him. This is what happens when you get old, Jeff. Your brain just has it's like water droplets get in and short circuit everything.
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Lyndsey and Charlie Raymond. But anyhow, so they are with the Kentucky Bigfoot Research Organization, also known as the KBRO, right? Do you want to throw up their logo from their page?
Yes.
Photo 6. I gave it to you.
Yep, you did. There it is.
There we go. So first off, Lyndsey Raymond, she did have a 20-year or approximately 20-year career as a police officer. And that's got to really help when they're out in the field, just, looking for evidence, doing whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Only makes you more aware. And she has done fingerprint examination. So I'd love to just get her initial take on that. Whatever. Let's see. I'm just trying to skim through this here. So Angie Snowy Bigfoot, Angie Sedgmere, those are the pictures we're going to show tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Other people have collected them. New York Todd has been doing a good research project, and he's actually been collecting them on thin Lexan. So then we can mail them to people. Actually, whole sheets with this stuff. Not a print or a photo, but the actual fingerprints, because traps can be made, and we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Let's see what else here. But anyhow, so they're a husband and wife team. They're absolutely amazing. They've done a lot of stuff. They've had a lot of experiences, and I know that they're backstage. So let's just go ahead and bring them out. Oh, by the way, they do a podcast too called the Bigfoot Hangout podcast. Yeah. Yep. So let's welcome Charlie.
All right, here they come. 1 second here. All right, and welcome to the show, Charlie and Lyndsey. Hello.
There you are. Apparently, your first name's Raymond now.
You're
That's okay. That's been done before.
my high school coach called me, Raymond, get over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you're lucky. You're one of those guys that are lucky enough to have two first names.
Yeah.
He'll answer to anything. He's answered to far worse than that.
Say, Lyndsey, is there any way you can come just a little closer to the mic? I know Charlie's got just. We want to hear you really well.
I step back a little bit just because our background is a green screen, and I tend to kind of fade in and out.
Oh,
bit,
okay.
So.
Yeah, we don't really live in a cave.
You don't?
No.
Is that Salt Fork? It looks like a Salt Fork cave, or is that one from Kentucky?
That's in the Red River Gorge.
Oh, cool.
And it looks very similar to Yahoo Falls.
Okay, let's talk about Kentucky. Why is Kentucky such a hot spot? The environment there is just gorgeous.
Well, the reason I tell people, we live in their backyards and they live in our backyards. And as you know, it takes two things to have a sighting. It takes a Bigfoot and a witness. So we live side by side with these creatures. And that's why Kentucky, I would say, is easily in the top 5 with reports.
Are people shy in Kentucky? And this question goes to both you guys. Are people shy to report? I mean, do you guys still have to drag
I don't think so.
people, or are they more open down there?
More open now. We've got more video interviews on our YouTube channel than ever before. People are willing to come forward because of TV shows like yours and other TV shows that make it acceptable. And law enforcement, military have gone on record. So witnesses are more likely now to come forward.
We used to own a little motel. Last year we sold it, but when we owned that place and when word started to get out that we collectively were the Kentucky Bigfoot Research Organization operating out of that location, we were getting people just showing up wanting to talk about Bigfoot. Like every other week we get somebody coming along with a story. These hills are rich with encounters.
I got a real quick funny one, real quick.
Go
so
ahead.
the little motel was on the parkway. Across the parkway was a big ridge, and a gentleman came in and wanted to buy a Bigfoot cutout that I was selling out front. And I always want to know the backstory. Did you see one? Why do you want the Bigfoot cutout? He goes, well, I'm your age. I'm like in late 50s, and see that ridge over there across the parkway? When I was a young boy in Kentucky in the summer, we wouldn't wear shirts. We just play outside, and we were playing on that ridge. And unrelated to Bigfoot, some tourists from Florida were driving the parkway, and they stopped their car. They backed up and they yelled, "Hey, we've never seen Kentucky hillbillies. Can we take your picture?"
Gosh.
And they obliged. They were tickled to death.
Oh my goodness.
They posed for the picture. I go, "What about Bigfoot, though? Have you seen one?" He goes, "Yes. When I was a young boy, just down this road, playing hide and seek. There was a full moon out, and I'm hiding in some bushes, and a large, hairy, bipedal creature ran right in front of me, and it was not one of my friends. And I've been a believer ever since."
Well, you guys look more like a Hollywood couple than hillbillies, so they definitely got their money's worth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyhow, so when did you join Charlie on his exploits out in the woods? I mean, is this something you've always been kind of an outdoors?
Yes, I have. And so I officially joined, I guess, the KBRO in 2021 when I moved to Kentucky. Now,
Okay.
I'm here from Canada. And when I moved to Canada back in 2008, or was it 9? 2000 and it might have been 9 actually. My fascination with Bigfoot grew. Until that point, I'd always been interested in it, but it wasn't until I started getting out into the mountains and doing lots of hiking, and I used to do a lot of solo camping and hiking too. And I
Really?
on these trails just with my little dog, and it's so vast out there. The trees, they just go on for miles, and it's incredibly beautiful. And sometimes I get on these trails and I wouldn't see a soul, and I get around the whole thing, and I'd just be sat there pondering, and I'd be thinking, there's so many things that could be out here. And Bigfoot easily could inhabit such a location and never be seen. And so my interest kind of peaked not long after moving to Canada. And then, of course, I got into all of the podcasts and following people on Facebook and that kind of thing. So I think I might have been following the KBRO before I got chatting with Charlie. I don't know, but officially it was 2021.
So
okay.
The way we met, and it's funny because I was putting up a trail camera, which we all know they know trail cameras for lots of reasons, but I still put them up, hoping to catch one on a bad day. And
that's exactly. You're right too. It could happen.
Yeah, it could happen. They're chasing something. They're not thinking.
Yeah.
They can slip up. So I put out trail cameras, and I put a little video of me putting out a trail camera, and she put a little hot emoji.
The fire emoji.
The little fire emoji. I go, oh my gosh, she's pretty hot too. So when I sent her back, I'm not lying. I didn't say hi. I sent back a Bigfoot GIF, a little animated GIF of a Bigfoot just from the chest up, and he's going up and down like this. And you don't know what he's doing. And I sent that, and I said, I don't know what he's doing, but he seems to enjoy it.
Word for word. That was the hook.
I broke the ice. And then
that was awesome.
And she fell for the magic.
Yeah.
You might be the only guy in the world that actually met his wife through a trail cam.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's true.
Yeah, and congratulations, because think about how rare it is to meet somebody that you share not only the same interests, but willing to actually do it, because I'm sorry, a lot of people are just scared to do what you do.
We for fun on a Saturday night, we'll go out squatching, and the one time out this past winter, we went to a hot area in Kentucky where there's been lots of sightings. We got DQ blizzards. It was freezing cold, and we parked the car in a very remote area. We had blankets. We cracked the windows. We ate our DQ ice creams, and we just listened. And this is the story, Doug. I think I told you briefly.
Wow.
We were laying back in the chairs. Something tried to open our back door to the truck.
Yeah.
You heard the door handle, and we're like, "Oh my gosh!" And we didn't have our equipment, no thermal, no nothing, and we were like, "What was that?" So we waited. Our little dog started to growl out that window up the ridge, like something had come down the ridge. We never heard anything walk up. We never heard anything leave. And finally, I got the nerve to get out of the truck and walk around. And it was a gravel road, so no tracks. And then the door handle, I could not see smudges or hair, and we didn't think to get fingerprints at the time. And we were like, what in the world just tried to open our door?
Yeah.
It caught us off guard.
Yeah, it would. How many times have you guys had actual, experiences, heard something together, rock throw, being followed? Has that happened quite a bit?
Yeah, that same spot. It's a very active location, and I'll put it this way: I've had multiple people tell me they've had large rocks thrown at them in this creek. So I took her there in the daytime. We parked at the gate. We walked a couple miles down, got in the creek, daytime, and I told her to get 2 rocks and do 3 rock clacks, which we know they clack rocks as well as tree knock. So
Yep.
she did 3 rock clacks, and immediately on the ridge above us, home run knock. Immediately.
What do you mean by a home run knock? Really loud? Like a thunder knock?
Like wood on wood. There was no mistaking it. It knocked back to us. And I got it on video, by the way. It's on I videotaped it. It's on our YouTube channel. You can watch it.
Okay.
She points to it, and I tell her, do it again. So she does it again, nothing happens. She does it again, nothing happens. Now, a couple things. We were the only vehicle at that gate. There was nobody else back there. It's a high ridge. It didn't do it again. And I always tell people, you get that knee-jerk reaction from a Bigfoot sometimes. And then they look over and they say, oh, stupid humans, and they leave. If it was a person messing with us, I would think they would keep doing it. They would make crazy howls. Nothing. I think we fooled a Bigfoot, maybe, for that one knock. And then it like, oh, humans, and it left.
Okay, between the two of you, who has the most courage?
I do.
She does.
I do.
Yeah, okay, I could believe that.
Yeah, totally.
I could believe that.
And he doesn't mind admitting that either.
I am.
I rarely get rattled. In fact, even on trails, when there's been a group of us, when we're on expeditions, I much prefer to get ahead of the group and just, be just slightly out of sight, just so that the voices and the sounds become muffled a bit further back, so that you're fully aware of what's happening ahead of you, and I've done that a few times. And a couple of years back, we were at a location, and I'd been doing the same thing on the trail. I don't know, maybe about 100 yards or so. And I was just stood there quietly listening. Well, at 90-degree angle, way off the trail and into the thick of the forest, I heard something. And it was one of those sounds where nothing resonated. It wasn't, it sounded like a footstep, and it sounded like it was coming towards me. And you remember this one with Mason?
Yeah, that's where you ran back to us.
Yeah, I did.
She ran back to us.
So I'm a big believer in you trust your gut instinct.
By the way, Lyndsey, it's okay to hit Charlie when we're doing this. There's no problem.
I got your permission for that.
Please.
Anyway, I'm a big believer in trusting your gut instinct and the natural senses that we were born with. And I felt with every hair on my body that this wasn't normal, and I rarely get rattled like that. So I went, kind of hot-butted it back to the group, and I said to Charlie, I've just been out there and there's something out there. Now, this is a hot area that we're into. And so Mason, actually, I don't know if he'll be listening tonight, but he's a good friend of ours, and he was with us. And he was like, I'll come back with you. Let's do it again. No, I think it was Charlie. Charlie said, what are you doing then? Get back out there. So we did. Mason and I went off back down the trail, and we stood there. Anyway, he felt it too. There was something going on, and we heard another noise, and it sounded like something coming towards us. Now, if it was a deer, I don't think a deer would try to interact with us. It would have, bolted, gone the other way. Anyway, that happened. Mason looked at me, and I looked at Mason, and I don't know if either one of us had said something like, and then we just bolted back down the trail, and we were both. Mason was the same. He was like, there is something out there. So that that excites me, I enjoy that. And that's what keeps me coming back, because I know there's something out there, and I know we've been close to it, but I've not seen it. And so, yeah, experiences like that.
Well, it's good. It's going to happen. I mean, it will.
Eventually, yeah.
It'll happen when you least expect it. Always
Right.
does.
It does, when we're driving home, home sleep, it'll be like, did you see that?
Well, another quick one, real quick.
Yeah.
Well, we take a couple dogman reports, legit witnesses, has a muzzle. Bigfoots have a little bit of a prognathism, but not a muzzle, pointed ears. Dogmen have pointed ears, different cryptid altogether. So it's a legit report, and it happens to be where we fish. And we went fishing there, and we said, well, let's go back in the woods where that dogman report was. So we drive the truck all the way back as far as we could, get out of the truck, just her and I, no guns, no thermal, again, no equipment, except our cell phones. And we go back, and we did have my bat. So we did 3 tree knocks, and something knocked back immediately. And then we're listening, and we hear footsteps walking towards us.
Wow.
And we're like, oh my gosh. So we start running back to the truck, and I took my phone out. I go, stop. And I videotaped her. I said, explain what just happened. So she's whispering, oh, we did 3 knocks and a knock back, and we hear it walking. And as she's talking, we could hear it walking still. And I go to her, I think I can still hear it walking. And she goes, yeah, it's still coming. You see the camera jumping up and down as we run back to the truck.
We bolted.
So it's different. People watch TV and they go, how come you don't go towards it? That's a different scenario. When you're out there in the dark, remote, again, no protection with you. It's a whole different story than what people like to say to do.
Right. So we've had a few experiences like that. They don't happen every week. We go out a lot, but we don't have experiences like that all the time. Our research isn't sensationalized at all. We get out there and we do the work, and sometimes we get nothing.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
Most of the time you get nothing.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like on TV, but when we do get something, we've had so many things happen and just been like, yeah, no, it's nothing. We rule out as much as we possibly can. So when something does happen that neither of us can explain, those times are amazing. They stick with us, so.
I could have swore it was you, Charlie, that told me, about a hum that you heard kind of in the distance. Yeah. I think it was you guys were together. Is that correct?
Yeah, we've heard this a few times, and sometimes it's closer. It's a weird sound. It's almost like a bee in your ear.
Yeah,
like
right. It tickles your ear. Yeah.
We don't know if that's a frequency of infrasound that's coming above 20 hertz, because infrasound's below 20 hertz.
Right.
A lot of us believe
it can be both. It can be both.
It can be varying, but it comes to a point where maybe you can hear it. I recorded it, and we sent it to Monongahela, who's a cryptolinguist. He does Sasquatch bioacoustics, and he's recorded those, and people have sent recordings to him of this hum. It's strange.
So we both heard it, and both of us were like, it sounded like, it sounded so close, but it was such an alien kind of noise to us, not anything that I'd ever experienced before. And then I went back and listened. It does sound like it did sound.
It sounds like it's right in your ear. It sounds like it's right with you.
Well, me and David Ellis have been documenting all sorts of people.
Right.
So this is very specific.
Well, we got it on camera, and we
recorded it.
When I went back and listened to it on the audio, to me, it sounded like it had got like an electronic sound to it. It was the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
But we were remote, like we were at a graveyard, in the middle of, there was nothing around us, nothing. Somewhere in Kentucky, but.
Is there any way, I won't ask Charlie because he wouldn't do it last time. Is there any way you can mimic that hum a little bit? What you kind of heard or remember?
Like a, kind of like a bee. I thought it was a bee.
It was like a.
Initially, I said, was that a bee?
Yeah.
Like a buzz hum.
Is it like
I think we called it a buzz hum. You hear us on the video say it's like a buzz hum.
Some of it's kind of like a hummingbird wings, almost like a
almost. And somebody did say that, when we were talking about
like
it,
a buzz, almost buzz hum. Yeah.
Somebody said maybe it was a hummingbird, but this was way before hummingbirds.
Yeah. Well, and we both are there. We're both alert. We would have seen a hummingbird or bee or.
I think it was April.
We did not see anything around us, and I was doing tree knocks. We were knocking on trees at that time.
Yeah, that was a weird experience for sure.
The other weird one we get a lot, you've probably heard this, guys, the loud thud on the ground, like a foot stomp, or something being like a large rock being dropped. It's a deep thud, very close. But you don't hear any limbs breaking, like one jumped out of a tree. You don't hear like a rock being thrown, almost like a foot stomp. It's a loud thud, and we've heard those a few times.
What do you think it is?
I'm guessing a foot stomp. I mean, because you don't hear branches break like a tree falling. You don't hear a rock being thrown like it rolling or. But it's deep. It's a loud thud.
So it's maybe another way they communicate, possibly.
Yeah.
So fascinating. Have you guys ever been to a point where you do want to leave an area, or has that never happened? Where you're like, okay, this is kind of overwhelming. I want to get out of here.
Me, yes. Yeah, unfortunately, many times. I've had them come close to me with return hand claps. They clap their hands too. Tree knocks, mouth pops. Wow. I've had them come very close to me. And the craziest thing is that fight or flight, it kicks in, even though I don't believe they'll hurt us. I really don't believe they would hurt us or me. But coming face to face with a 8 to 10 foot monster, I don't know. You need a lot of nerves to stand still and watch and look for them. As bad as I want to see them, something kicks in, and I tell myself, "Oh, gee, it's getting late. Time to go."
Yeah.
Somebody asked a really good question. Said, Charlie, could it be a type of drumming, like grouse or turkey wings or something, that hum or buzz you heard?
This is more, I would say, high-pitched, more mechanical.
Yeah.
The buzz, that humming, the sound is not.
The third is big. It's not a turkey.
Yeah,
we have a turkey.
We own turkeys, by the way. we have chickens and turkeys, so I don't think it's a turkey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's odd. We got to record it. I've got the record. Did I send you the recording one time, Doug?
I think you did. I've been getting so many of them, and if you did, then David's got it. Maybe if David comes back or if he shows up tonight, we can play that. I do know that this is getting to be a common problem, but like anything, if we don't all talk about it and share it, people hear a hum out in the woods, they just blow it off. Oh, it's a hummingbird or it's a bee. But when you get enough of these experiences that people remember, because damn well you don't remember a bee that goes by you. That doesn't stick in your head. It's when it's out of place and weird that you remember it. What you thinking, Lyndsey?
Lindsay's looking at me because I just whispered I've got to go pee.
Oh, go. Go.
I'll be right back. Lindsay, take over, Lindsay.
Yeah.
I'll be right back, promise.
Yeah, go.
The water back here is making me want to go pee.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's okay. I got this.
I'm getting old. Sorry.
So do you... So, Lyndsey,
Yes.
what is it, though, about this creature that you would love to know? I mean, if you could answer one question, what would it be? What would be the one magical thing you'd want to know? Would you want to just like see it face to face?
Well, I do want to see it, yeah.
Yeah, okay. But beyond that,
I want to know where it fits, within this whole realm that we're in.
right?
Where is it on the food chain? Like, I mean, are we above it? Like, are we the predator of the Bigfoot, or is Bigfoot going to be the predator of us? Like, where does it fit in that chain, and what's its purpose? Why is it here, and why is it in the woods, and why is it so elusive? I mean,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, I would avoid the humans at all costs too if I wasn't one. And I'd want to be out in the woods away from everything, living amongst nature. But why is it here? Is it just here to elude us and give us, the mysticism of it? I don't know. But
Right. Yeah. Almost entertainment for us. The mystery.
Almost, yeah.
Or maybe it fills a very, very deep, important ecological niche. Like I always wonder, it knocks trees down all the time.
Yeah,
That's
maybe
a
that's what
possible
it's
niche.
doing. Yeah, it's knocking the trees down. It's keeping the deer population down. I don't know, but that would be a question that I would like to see.
Yeah, just like I believe an elephant's main job is to keep the plains of Africa fertilized and to keep trees knocked down, so it, that it goes back to the soil.
Right.
So elephants are kind of the soil miners and the soil guardians, and I do wonder that about Bigfoot, because they do knock a lot of trees down.
They do, and we've heard that too, and we've had a couple of really creepy experiences with that as well. And there was one time out in LBL, actually my first experience in LBL. We'd gone out there with a group of 3 or 4 people, and we'd been hearing distant kind of howls, nothing really significant, and we made us way to this super remote graveyard. I mean, I would never be able to find it again. And a couple of the group got there ahead of us, and they were wandering around, just taking photographs. Really, really old historical place. And then as Charlie and I got down there, as we entered the opening section to get into this graveyard, a huge tree came down in the distance. In fact, not even in the distance, it was just at the far end of this graveyard, and it came down with such force. It was such a perfectly still night. There's no rain, no wind, but suddenly this tree comes down for no apparent reason, just as we enter this graveyard. So I don't know, was there a Bigfoot out there watching us and didn't want us there?
Well, I mean, just knocking trees down alone will help with berry production, let
Right.
sun in, does a lot of things.
Right.
Nature doesn't waste anything. There's a reason for each animal.
There is, right.
Yes,
we
absolutely.
all are here with a purpose. So
Oh God, here comes Charlie. By the way, Charlie, tell Charlie his pee break was TMI. Somebody said Mike goes TMI.
Too
oh,
much?
TMI.
You could have said you left something in the oven, Charlie.
I don't cook, so
Oh well,
I never lie. See, my thing is I'm so honest.
you are.
That's what
You
people,
are.
I think, appreciate.
That's cool. I was just I just loved it when Mike goes TMI.
Lyndsey, did you have any interest in this before you moved to North America?
I moved to Canada in 2008, 2009. Before that, I'd always had an interest in the paranormal from being very small, ghosts and things like that. Absolutely. In fact, when I was a police officer in England, I don't know if I should say this or not. It's nothing significant. I don't know if we probably would have got in trouble if our supervisors had known. But as a team, we used to all go and park up in this really creepy area down this back lane in our district. And we used to go on this ghost walk because apparently this really tight little stone-built alley was haunted. So we'd all go park our police vehicles at one end of it and dare each other to walk down this really super dark alley, trying to find a ghost at night at like 3 a.m. when it's dead quiet and nothing else going on. There's a bunch of cops just in the back lane. Like, we used to, and I loved stuff like that. But I mean, that's just a small piece of it. From very small, I have an interest. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you've had interest in the weird and the paranormal. I think a lot of us do.
Yeah.
A lot of us don't act on it though. We have the interest. It's mild, and we don't do anything about it. But then you saw Charlie hanging a game trail camera, and that was the end of it.
It's a great story.
That's awesome.
I love that story.
I was actually right at this date. This is just before COVID, and I'll be quick. And I was right at that time where I'd been so immersed in Bigfoot and the paranormal stuff and Dogman, and I was listening to Sasquatch Chronicles, and what's the Dogman one too?
Dogman Encounters, or with Vic Cundiff.
Like I was obsessed with that.
Yeah.
Vic has a great voice like yours.
Oh yeah, it's wonderful.
Doug, it's very
Vic was just on Real American Monsters with Chris Reinhardt. If you want to hear an interview, but Vic is like beyond cool. I mean, he's just.
You never see him though.
No, nobody ever sees him. He's a mystery man. He's probably too good looking, is what he's probably have all these women chasing him.
I love his voice, his demeanor.
Yeah, he is good. His demeanor is quite interesting. It really is. He's very nice, super nice guy. I hope to get him on one day.
Oh yeah, that's wonderful.
So how do you think this mystery is ever going to come to an end? I mean, it just can't go on forever like this. What do you guys think? Charlie, you tell me first.
Well, the DNA is a problem, because lots of reasons.
Yeah.
You mentioned the fingerprints, and that's an exciting piece of forensic evidence that we should look into.
Well, it could be a new category, a brand new, really cool category.
Mm-hmm. And I was talking to Lyndsey before this about that, and the one thing I'm a layman. I don't know much about them, but fingerprints. But I do know you can match them up. So if you get the same print in the same area over years, or you can say there's the same Bigfoot possibly made the same print, whether it's a Bigfoot or a human, whatever it is, or
and you could actually get a lifespan eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's cool. Yeah.
That's intriguing.
A range, you could see their travel routes.
Yes.
If people had traps out. And to me, when I say a trap, is just some type of glossy material like glass, but not glass. We don't be laying glass in the forest because it can start fires. But maybe near their home or somewhere where there's activity, to have a piece of plexiglass that's maybe dark so it doesn't set anything on fire, tinted, and maybe they'll be curious enough to, is this water? What is this? Think about what they would think in the wild. They don't see gloss unless it's a still puddle.
We did try something one time. We didn't get any success with it. Remember when we put the old CDs out, because they they glint in the light.
Wow.
We hung them from trees.
They're highly reflective and they're smooth, so perfect for fingerprints. And we hung one in a tree, but we didn't go back to that gifting site for such a long time. And then, but anyway.
Well, the CDs the DVDs might be too flashy. Yeah. But it'd be really cool if you guys tried, like, I'd even send them to you. Plexiglass squares, 12 by 12, put a piece of Velcro on a couple of corners, and it's really high gloss. And I think it's safe. Maybe somebody can weigh in on that. I don't think that would start a forest fire if it's, like a shaded black plexiglass or blue, and to see if, something would just handle it out of curiosity.
Anything smooth and solid, you can get a fingerprint off. So it doesn't even have to be a plexiglass. I mean, it would be perfect too.
Yeah.
Like any solid object which is smooth, without texture is going to be perfect for fingerprints.
Well, in law enforcement, obviously you're always dealing with human fingerprints, right? You're not trying to determine whether a gorilla robbed a store or a bank or a home or murdered somebody. You're trying to determine what human did it. Mm-hmm. But in this line of research, we're trying to figure out what primate. Is it humans? Is it something else because of maybe the size? Do you think there could be like possibly some latent detail that could be different? What's your first? Gorillas are different. I'm sure they are than humans.
Well, I've never studied a gorilla or a chimpanzee or any kind of ape's fingerprints. And I know there has been studies done on them. And I know there's been studies done years back and probably some recent as well. I've never looked at them and I've never compared them against a human. Right. But what I have seen on the odd photograph is that they do look very, very similar. Now, I'm not a biologist. I don't know gorilla, chimpanzee anatomy or anything like that. But their fingers are formed very similar to ours. Right. The sections may be different in size. Their thumbs are different. But when it comes to the morphology of a friction ridge fingerprint, we are developed very similarly in the body. We're birthed the same way. We grow the same way. And I think humans and the ape family, as far as I'm aware, are the only species that have friction ridge detail on their fingers and on their feet. So because we grow the same way in the womb, I'm guessing they are going to be very similar.
Which is problematic, right? Obviously.
It is when it comes to comparison. Yeah, the biggest thing that's going to be it would have to come down to the size, I would think, unless, and because there's not enough of them on record to be able to analyze them to say, yes, we know that they have loops, we know that they have whorls,
right.
We know that they have arches, all that stuff. We don't know. Maybe they have a different formation, but I doubt it because that comes in the womb the same way as it does for humans.
Well, what's cool is Yeah. Obviously, humans are all sorts of sizes. We've all seen giant people, little people. There's different ages. I mean, it's quite confusing. But there may be. I'm hoping, and I don't know, but they're hoping there's some morphological difference in where their thumb would be, finger spacing, finger length. There could be all sorts of weird. I hope.
Size, I think, is going to be key.
Well, the issue is, are Bigfoots more closely related to us?
Yeah.
Or gorillas? If it's more gorilla, then the thumb is going to be shorter, more divergent.
Right.
The finger's going to be longer. The palm is going to be a longer space than we have, more like a gorilla. Where if a Bigfoot's more human, then it would look more like ours, just larger, on a larger scale.
Yep.
So what is a Bigfoot? Is it more gorilla? Is it more human?
Well, one person who's been collecting a lot of stuff through the years is, excuse me, Angie Sedgmere, better known as Snow-Eyed Bigfoot. And I've got other people who are now collecting stuff on a regular basis, which is really cool. But Angie, one of the great things she did is she used very high-end photography to catalog. She knew it was important long before I ever mentioned anything. Bless her heart, which is great. But I wanted to bring her on just so we can all just see some of her pictures for the first time. Not looking for any conclusions from you, Lyndsey, at all. If you have a comment, great. If you don't, that's cool. But I think it would be really fun to share these photos and how she collected them with the audience.
Absolutely.
And I know there may be something. I know you have studied fingerprints and forensics, being in law enforcement for 20 years. Did you ever specialize in that aspect of it, or was it just part of your normal police work?
No, from 2014 to 19, so is that it's roughly 5 years, I was in the forensic crime scenes unit. So
wow. Okay.
I qualified as a fingerprint expert, and I compared and analyzed during that time thousands of fingerprints, human fingerprints. Yeah, and there's a methodology to it, so what I would caution anybody at this stage is, immediately saying it's a Bigfoot
right
on the back of a car or something like that, because any and every fingerprint needs to be analyzed before you can come to a conclusion,
which could take days, weeks, even months.
It can be done pretty quick. It can be done really quick. The problem is there is nothing to compare it against. Like in a criminal case, usually when you obtain a fingerprint, it's ran through a database, and if it hits on that database locally or nationally, then you're given a known sample of that print, and then you compare the fingerprint that you find out in the field to the known sample. And that's where the methodology comes into it. Scientific analysis of it starts. With a Bigfoot, we don't have that,
But I think what you would do, in my opinion, you would document it the best you can, using correct forensics, technique of acquiring that print, and then putting it side by side with a human print, and then looking at a human print next to it, and then looking and seeing, is it much larger? Is it different in other aspects?
Yeah.
That's where I think you really...
Yes, it needs to be fully calibrated to
scale.
With an average-sized human hand.
Well, I am hoping to convince you, Lyndsey, at some point to take on the challenge of doing this, because you're not going to at least show negative bias towards the topic, which so many people do. They just like, nah, don't bother me with that. I don't want to even look at it, I'm having that problem with DNA labs, contacting DNA labs, going, they'll say, yeah, that sounds great. And then they call you back 2 days later, go, nah, we're not interested. noticed it, because they don't want to be embarrassed.
Right. Yeah.
But I'm hoping somebody like yourself with your skills, and of course, I guarantee you probably know other people with skills to kind of look at this stuff and go, it's nothing we can do. Or, holy crap, there's this little feature nobody ever noticed.
Right.
Some little micro, could be
Right.
something weird we don't know.
And there could be something in the minutia of
Right.
these fingerprints that's
Exactly.
different, a very minute detail that humans don't have, but Bigfoot do. Maybe it's in the paws. We've all got paws in our
Right.
fingertips that we can't see.
Pores.
Yeah.
Unless you said paws.
No.
Pores.
Maybe it comes down to the minutia.
Yeah.
Very fine detail. Could be, but we need to do that analysis to figure it out, and it's definitely worth looking into.
Well, let me introduce Angie, and we'll go through some photos, and just to see, and mainly to share with the audience of what to look for, because they're unique. They seem unique to a layman like me. To somebody like you, they may not look unique at all. I don't know.
I'm excited. Let's have a look.
Yeah, so let's introduce Angie Sedgmere, better known as Angie Snow White Bigfoot. Jeff, can you let her on?
Yep. Welcome, Angie.
There we go.
Hello.
Hello. Good to see you. And by the way, I want to mention one thing before we begin. I had my crew out to her place, and they came back and went, "Holy crap! It's like an amazing place. Like they get it. They thought, yeah, we get it." She even has a spring on your property, Angie, that's got like you can drink out of it.
That's where we get the water. Yeah. Yeah.
And which may be the reason they're coming around, with this amazing drinking water.
Mm-hmm.
But how many acres do you have there?
We live on 300 acres.
Yeah, see.
And it's real close to it's called Tappan Lake.
Okay.
So there's just, I think it's 7 miles long. So there's
Yeah.
all that wooded, so.
Well, when did you start first noticing these prints on your windows, cars, doors, sides, whatever? And what made you think to start documenting it?
Well, the very first print that I found was actually on paper, and it was in 2016.
Okay.
I put a piece of paper out, drawing paper. I drew a smiley face, just
Sure.
just to see what they would do. And
Yep.
it looked like a little one had come up, started touching it, and there's looks like part of a palm print, and you can see dermal ridges on.
It's interesting.
That was the first one.
So you agree their skin oil is thicker and waxier?
Definitely, yeah.
Okay. Well, let's just go ahead and throw. We're going to start at the top. You sent us a list.
Yeah.
And kind of in order of importance, or at least the best you could do. Jeff, do you have that?
I do. Here is.
Why don't we just throw one up and see here? There we go.
Right. So that's probably what I feel is the best print that I found.
It's like an arm.
Yeah, it's a whole arm from the elbow up to the hand.
Wow.
So that's just like a further back picture to show where it was on the car.
And you have a close up, Jeff. Can you?
Yeah, the next one here is video, actually.
Yeah, it kind of explains.
Let's go ahead and play it. And Charlie and Lyndsey, you guys can, ask questions. You can do whatever. Take over.
Yeah, there's definitely skin there. It looks like the side maybe of a palm there. This kind of
thumb.
Where are we? This
Is that
kind
a
of
thumb?
section?
The finger up there, finger and thumb.
It looks like the hand's cupped to me.
Yeah.
What I'm wondering about, it doesn't look like the forearm there is as hairy as what I might have expected to see.
Okay, that's Jim's arm next to it, the tissue size.
Yeah. I would have expected to see more hair detail, if I'm honest.
There is hair. You can even see follicles after we'll look at it closer.
Sure.
All right. So just keep going here.
Yeah, we got. She sent quite
There's
a bit.
quite a few here,
we're
yeah.
moving.
So I did some research and I looked up some examples of ape arm, chimpanzee and gorillas, what I found. And the similarities are pretty striking, especially the infants. And this was
Yeah.
one that I found on
That would be a young one to me. Like
small one,
if that was a
most likely
juvie.
an infant.
Right.
Yeah,
That
look
is
at the arm structure. How similar.
If that was a juvie
And
looking in the window, like a younger one with less
here,
hair, maybe.
You see
Yeah.
creases.
Yeah, that
at
would
the
it would
elbow
explain less
area.
hair for sure. That's interesting.
Right.
It's near it anyway.
Just so people know that audio is coming
and
from the
muscle
video.
tone.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks
Wow.
like maybe a younger one. That's a good
This-
comparison.
Ape arm, which I think that's a baby gorilla. Just look at how similar these two look. And
Mhm.
down here, the elbow, and here. Let's see if I can make these bigger.
Right. So you can. I mean, it's definitely
The
skin.
detail
Now,
on the arm.
To me, was
See where the
was
hair
that swapped
comes
for
down?
DNA at all?
I think
That would be
that's
hard to
definitely
fake,
down
wouldn't it,
here, too.
Lindsay?
Yeah. I mean, that's to me
And just
that
the shape.
would be
Overall,
100% a
striking.
skin sample.
Jeff,
Um,
you can pause
perfect
it.
for
It's right
swab.
Hey, Jeff, why don't you turn the volume down on the video so then Angie can chime in live because she knows this stuff
Out of-
inside and out. I think it'd be less confusing for the audience.
I mean, you can see it's kind of like almost cross hatching there.
Yeah.
Kind of the little wrinkles on the skin. Now, that wouldn't be good for any kind of friction ridge analysis, but it would be ideal for a swab for DNA.
I was going to mention, is there anybody in the world that's like a skin? Have you ever heard? Maybe you haven't. A skin texture specialist.
Yeah, I don't know.
I wonder if there's somebody that does that. It's got to be.
Yeah.
Well, if
Sure.
anybody ever hears this and they know somebody or know a scientist that studies skin texture, God, get a hold of me.
It's
I thought
definitely
this-
fascinating.
This,
So this is the same print, correct, Angie? Sorry.
yeah, it's the same print.
Okay.
The
just different.
elbow, to me, is so similar to that little infant
Yeah.
gorilla.
Yeah, you can almost line it up.
Yeah.
That's a good comparison.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean that's the fact that that photograph that you found it almost nails it.
Yeah, look at that.
It really does.
Yeah.
The like the muscle structure and the hair flow and everything.
Yeah, it's the other interesting thing about her pictures. It shows a lot of hair, probably more than certainly for a little guy. Little people don't have that much hair, do they?
I don't know. But there's a lot of skin contact there.
Yeah.
So when I said I would have expected more hair, I was anticipating maybe an adult covered in hair, but the example that's given there with
A young one.
the young one, I mean
Yeah.
that looks it looks almost as if it could have been planted by
Very-
that very same
Yeah,
arm.
very,
Yeah.
very close.
Jeff, throw up something, another one. We got to keep it moving. I want to get through as many as we
You know
can.
what's interesting too about that, Angie, is, to me, their skin would have to be really have more wax and more oil on it to do
Mhm.
that. Because if we did it, if I just put my arm on your window, I don't
Mhm.
know if I would leave as much of a mark with my arm.
Yeah,
Right.
good observation.
Almost every time that I found a handprint or something, I will go next to it and put mine just to see if it would make even anything similar, and you can hardly see it. It's just this
Right.
different.
Yeah, because I wouldn't imagine a person being able to do that unless you had
Yeah.
a lot of oil, a lot of wax. to
Right.
leave that.
Because it's just like it's just perfect. I just can't see a person. I mean, Lyndsey might know more about what kind of quality.
Ooh, look at this.
Yeah, I mean that's good. And it's a great photograph too.
It is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that you take.
Yeah, great work.
Are you taking the photographs, Angie?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean that one's wonderful. You always want to get as close as possible with the
Look at
images, and ideally, if you're continuing to get these impressions. I would suggest to you getting a roll of tape with like a tape measure, sticky tape,
Mm-hmm.
so that you can put it beside the image, and that way it can be easily calibrated when it's put into Photoshop.
Oh, you mean like a tape measure?
Yeah, but the sticky type.
The sticky kind.
Oh yeah, I have put at least like a tape measure or ruler or something besides
right.
several of them. So.
Look at the pores, though. The size of the pores.
Yeah,
It's interesting.
Yeah.
that's the forearm and wrist.
Right. Yeah. As you get further up, there it looks, where it tapers off.
Mhm.
There it looks to be where you're starting to get to an area where you could be getting some friction ridge. So if that would be this
Yeah.
area
Mhm.
that it's getting into.
So this is
right there. I'm seeing friction ridge detail.
yeah, on the palm.
Yeah, like you've almost got level 2.
Mm-hmm. There's actually fingerprints. I see this. I don't know what to call it. This. Whenever I found this one, there's 1, 2. There were at least 4 other prints on my car. So it was like there was a little one up there. Just I figure like it was being carried by a sibling or.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
It was
And
just
kind of
boring. Yeah.
Right. It's been held by a parent, and it's kind of leaned against the glass.
Right.
Look at all that detail of the skin.
The skin it looks like pores to me.
Yeah. Oh, it's crazy. Yeah, like what we call it, goose flesh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more than you would think a human would have. Those big goosebumps or.
Even got the wrinkles on the skin as it gets down towards the elbow.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, those are amazing photographs. Wow.
Yeah. It's really great detail.
Does that look like a callus on the elbow there? That's what it looked like to me. That kind of.
Yeah, it looked.
Or this.
I think she's talking about this.
Jeff, can you like move the picture?
Oh, here's a better picture of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the knobbly bit of the elbow.
Yeah, totally. Wow.
Yeah.
It's such a high quality photograph.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting too? So what's interesting is the elbow, the roundness, how it's very round, and then it the shape, it just seems more round, the entire elbow area.
It looks a little non-human.
Yeah, it does. I mean, these pictures just keep getting better and better. These are amazing.
Yeah, it does not look human.
See, Charlie, Lyndsey, and Angie, wouldn't it be cool if we could animate this, bring this to life like they've done with the Shroud of Turin and so on, and try to, bring it into a
AI, use AI. Say, hey, AI, make this.
I wonder if AI could do it. It might be able to. Just be really cool.
That's a great question.
Go ahead, Lyndsey.
Was you using kind of oblique lighting with a flashlight?
Yeah, from the side, you have to get it just right. And I have a macro lens, like a professional macro lens, and a good zoom lens too. So that's what I was using to get.
You did a really, really good job.
Thank you.
And which window was it on the vehicle?
That one was, the arm was on the passenger side back window.
Do you still have that car?
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting is to do a reenactment of that picture, take measurements, right? Because if you got the same car, the same size window, have a young person about the same size go put their arm there and try to match it up with a person's arm, because this looks different than a person to me.
Yeah, it does.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
The skin looks almost aged. But I mean, just like the picture that you showed, but if we hadn't seen that, you would think that was an older person's skin just because of the way it's kind of wrinkled around the underside of it.
Yeah, the wrinkles down there at the
Yeah.
bottom, and that the roundness of that elbow.
But it doesn't look human.
It doesn't
That
look
doesn't.
No.
But don't you think an anatomist might be able to look at this and go, "Oh my God, that's
Maybe even a zoologist, you know.
yeah,
Yeah, I would have somebody like that look at it
yeah."
and think maybe it is a type
I don't see, Angie. Has Jeff Meldrum ever examined that particular photo?
I've never talked to him.
Okay, I'm going to get that to. I'll get that to Jeff this week
Hmm.
and see what he thinks about that elbow, because Charlie keeps bringing up that damn elbow, and I think that damn elbow is important.
It looks
That's-
different to me.
It
That's
is.
wild.
It's
Because, like, think of this real quick. If a young chimp or a gorilla, whatever, they have not grown into their body yet, so their arms are not fully developed or massive. Their elbows are big though. Their joints and elbows are big because they got to grow into them.
Mhm.
That's why that
Wow.
elbow is so large compared to the rest of it.
There you
And
go.
it just hasn't filled out yet.
yeah.
Hey, Charlie, do you have some kind of degree we don't know about in anatomy?
No, I love biology.
I'm just making sure you're not like going, "Oh yeah, I've got a master's in blah 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 in,
No, not at all.
Is
in
this a-
orthopedics."
Angie, is this a different print in this picture? Or is that
Different
more
print
deep?
that was on the driver's side window, the
Okay.
driver front window. So there
This is
were
a different print. Okay.
right.
By the way,
arm-
before we go on, I need to interrupt. Brendan has a great comment about the skin texture. He was basically saying that maybe the hair was in that piloerection state. When you get your hair stands on end. When it was doing that, it was scared,
Right.
and that could explain all the goosebumps.
yeah,
It's
or
interesting.
excited, maybe excited.
Yeah, excited. There is a frame or two in the Patterson Gimlin footage where Patty goes into piloerection. A lot of people aren't aware of that. That needs to be studied more. Like right when it turns and looks at Bob, its hair flares. You can't do that with a suit, right?
I never knew that.
Oh no, nobody knows about it, because I was in a studio live. We had this thing blown up on the screen when we were transferring the film live, and a guy in the studio goes, "Oh my God, look at this frame!" And you could just see, and then he played it back and forth, and you could see the hair just kind of flare out.
Like a
And it
dog.
was like, and that's what convinced him. This is back in the 90s. It convinced him. He went from a skeptic to a believer. To this day, he does Bigfoot research because he saw that couple of frames that convinced him. So anyhow, sorry about that.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Can we zoom in on this one?
What is this a print of?
That's another
Nope.
that arm. There were at least three arm prints. This one was on the white part of the car, so it's not as good. But you can see, I compared it to the one that was on the driver's window, and they're bent, same angle. But
So like the outer arm.
Or the inner?
I don't know. I would say it probably is.
Yeah.
It sure doesn't look like a human skin. That's for sure. That's crazy.
It's definitely got a lot of creases in it that wouldn't be regular. It's not. I wouldn't think it's common. I mean, I've not really examined arm prints before, but
So I noticed too.
Did you go back, Jeff, to is it 16? Because
The creases are large, very large creases.
yeah.
right.
Like
This
there
one-
too. Yeah.
To me, when at first I wasn't sure what it was, but when I edited the pictures and I started looking, it's like, oh my God, that looks like a leathery arm of an ape, and it's bent. You can even see that it's got that callus. in the
Oh,
elbow.
I see. It's the elbow again.
So I wish I could point it out. So like,
No, I know what you're saying. It's
Yeah.
bent. Like
Right.
the left side's more like the bicep up high, and then the
Mhm.
bottom white there's the elbow, and then the arm goes up to the right.
right.
Say, Jeff, is there a way you can put your mouse arrow?
Can
Yeah.
you see
There
that?
you go. Yeah, just tell Jeff where you want to
Oh.
point.
Oh,
elbow.
can you make it bigger so she can maybe see?
Well,
more detail?
it zooms in too far if I hit zoom.
Yeah.
Wow, look at the detail though.
It's
Can you go up?
Like scroll around, like
That's what's
Wow.
drag it.
amazing to me.
yeah, that's wonderful detail.
How
Holy
wrinkled
incredible.
crap.
the
Yeah,
creases are larger than what you think of humans would be.
that is wonderful. I've never seen that on human skin. That does not.
Well, wouldn't you
My
think
own
something
opinion,
living in
but
the
like-
wild would have more wrinkles, creases on their
Right.
hands, their arms, everywhere?
Creases
Yeah,
from the
Well, when you compare this,
the
like
hair in that. Is that hair? That could be, or is it just the creases? I think there's hair in there too.
look at those creases.
Yeah,
the
That's
next
amazing.
picture is of the I
that's
think
great.
shoulder, and it's very hairy. So if Jeff wants to go to,
Good job, Jeff. Keep doing that stuff.
yeah,
Which one? Which I'm sorry, Angie. Which one next?
the pictures would be, let's see, 21.
21. Come
Well,
on.
that's a good point David mentioned.
David Ellis is in the
Yeah.
house.
He said if it's the underside of the arm, you'd see less hair. That's a good point.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
Good point, David. He never
So
lets
this
me
is,
down.
What I think is a shoulder that got leaned up against the
Wow,
glass.
great job on that.
See, I don't think if I put my shoulder, it's going to show anywhere near the kind of crisscrossing,
Kind of like dry skin.
dry. Yeah.
So here's the thing.
Thick, dry skin.
Honestly, here's the thing.
More
You have
leathery.
you have the same car.
Mhm.
To me, you have all these great pictures. You did a great job documenting all this. To me, you take a person and go have them do it with their arm and compare a person to this.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But look at that. To me, looks like the skin distorted when it pressed up against the glass, and you can
Like-
see where
yeah,
it
like-
wrinkled.
Like their skin, Lindsay, is a little more loose.
Right.
What I think that is hair flowing from the front
Mm.
of the shoulder back, because it is. I compared it to an infant, which is in the clip part that I put in here, and it flows exactly the same way. And then there's like a bare part, like here, but there's hair up here.
That is the detail is incredible.
Can you stop right there, Jeff? The crisscrossing on the skin. I've seen that pattern on my own skin, but I can't really
It's like when your skin gets really dry.
really dry. Holy crap. Look at the it's almost 3D, Angie. You did such a good job with those photos.
That's
Yeah,
really
it's
impressive.
It's damn near 3D.
You
It
did
really
great.
is.
What
You
I,
can
what
see
I
the
see whenever I look at that is more of a leathery type. Of
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like you would imagine a chimpanzee skin,
Yeah.
you know?
Right. More leather, like all the witnesses in Kentucky where I've documented face-to-face encounters, they said it looks so worn, like old worn leather. That's
Mhm.
what the witnesses told me, like old worn leather.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah, these I can't get over how
Would you like
crazy
to
these
look
are.
at what I think is a foot that
What
touched?
kind of size is this one, Andrew, before we move on? Like, how
Uh-huh.
big is this impression that we're looking at now?
It was tiny. It was like about this big, like 2 inches. It was like it's most definitely an infant.
Right.
There was
What do you think that is? What part of the body?
shoulder.
Shoulder?
The hair flows back just like on a gorilla, and there's even a little bare spot with the skin where you can see all that it's cross hatching and stuff.
Now, do you mind me asking, where was your vehicle?
In the garage, which that might sound crazy, but they've been coming in our garage on a regular basis.
There's
for
nothing
years.
crazy.
Was it it's crazy?
Andy, that's actually not crazy. I just got back
Was
from
the
the
garage door
cabin
open or closed?
where they broke in and destroyed the inside of the cabin. So
Was your garage open or closed? The door.
It was probably open, yeah.
Oh.
Because we used to leave it open a lot, like all the time, not thinking about it. Now we close it up at night. But
Yeah.
they would go in there, take my husband's tools, and they would
And-
usually bring them back, but every once in a while they'll keep one.
And
stuff like that.
can you say for sure that these impressions were not there previously?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like they appeared overnight, kind of thing, or
Yeah, and I would whenever things like this appear, I go, Jim, did you touch this? I go back, did I touch it? Was there anybody here that could have touched it? I go through that whole process of elimination. So,
Yeah.
to the best of my knowledge.
that's a wonderful photograph.
And Angie, do these prints stand out? They're pretty white and they stand out pretty they're easy to notice.
They're a lot easier than like a human print.
Yeah.
Because it's thicker.
So these you haven't dusted these at all then? This is just how they were?
That's just, straight.
Yeah. There's no
Right.
fingerprint powders involved or anything?
No.
I'm saying they got to have a lot of oil or wax to do that.
Yeah,
more
like
than us.
skin cells. Dry skin cells.
Yeah.
Fluffed off. Like, to me, that I would have loved to have swabbed that for DNA. Oh, there we go. Perfect. That's great. There's some good friction ridge detail.
Can you go back to it being regular, Jeff, for a second?
Touching. Yeah.
I think that, to me, what it looks like is the bottom of a foot, and that curled over thing at the top, to me, looks like a bent over toe. You know how like an infant, even a human's baby, curl over?
I would have had that being this area of the palm.
I've had somebody else say that, but well, look at the detail. Like, does that look like a palm?
For my opinion, off the bat, would say that's a palm. Yeah, this area. And so
actually, whenever I first saw it, that's what I thought too. I thought it was another palm print.
Like, and so how would it get its foot up there? What would have been the circumstance?
I think it was being carried, so we just put its foot against the window, like.
Okay, yeah, that could be too.
So these lines and these circle things, I can't figure out what those would be, even if it was a human. Can you comment on that?
The circle things.
Yeah, Jeff, can you go back out? Where the lines?
Here?
Yeah, they're right. What are those? You ever seen that before?
Things.
And each side, inside each one are two little dots.
They could be scars, is what my guess would be, that they're scars of some kind.
Like damage done?
Yeah.
Some kind of damage done to the...
Yeah. That would be my guess. I mean, I've not examined many footprints, but it does look like the side of the palm with the direction of the ridge flow there, and the creases up top, but the way the ridge detail, I kind of would have expected the ridges to come down further too, towards the bottom, kind of arch around a bit.
I mean, if it's a palm,
that one definitely needs more examine.
It does. It's difficult.
Yeah.
Like I said, when I first saw it, I thought it was another palm print, but I looked closer and I'm not so sure.
Where was that on the car?
That was on the back, the driver's side back window, passenger, There's drivers, and then the.
So Lyndsey, do you think that's a foot then, or no?
My initial thoughts are that it's a partial palm print, and those little circles could be scars, or it could be debris stuck to the palm, like something that's got in the way.
On the side of the foot, Jeff, you just passed it. There's like a really leathery texture, like where if it's a foot, it would be going up into the ankle. Do you see that?
It's hard to say conclusively without,
closer examination.
Yeah,
Wow.
seeing it
Yeah.
close, I've been able to compare it against another palm, and
A foot.
without being able to see how it was anatomically placed,
Right.
if it just
And it's
kicked
partial. It's only a partial. If it's
Partial.
anything, it's partial. So that makes it
Great.
better.
I keep going back to this, but you got the measurements, you got the car. I would take a human and do a palm there. I'd do a foot there, and then compare to a human palm, a human foot. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
It's like if it's a foot, I mean, it would have to be the side of the foot, and the foot would have had to have rolled around to get the friction ridge detail going into the middle.
Right.
Mm.
So it would have had to have touched the glass and rolled onto the glass.
Here's what's amazing to me. In no way do I think that's human on your window like that.
Mhm.
Doesn't look any part of a human to me. It looks totally different.
Thank you. That's what I think too.
I agree.
Whether it's a palm or a foot, it just doesn't.
Right, no matter what it is, it doesn't look like human to me in any way.
The ridge detail is similar to a human palm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the creases,
I actually have a palm.
cross hatching too. So you can't. This is no disrespect at all, Angie. I'm not saying it's human at all, but I'm saying you have to keep in mind that it does look similar to a human palm print too. So we can't automatically say it's not.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Do a comparison.
Yeah, definitely needs more work, but definitely fascinating, interesting.
Is this a thumb?
This is just a finger. I think it's just a fingerprint. Can you go back out, Jeff, for a second? You see that movement or something? Is that from it moving its finger and then?
You got some distortion there. Yeah, it's kind of lateral distortion where it's touched the glass and moved. Let me see. So that would be. Did it touch the glass first? I think it
slid, then left it.
Yeah. It's touched the glass and it's got distortion. But can we just zoom out again a bit? You've got some pore details in there too. Pores, as in pores. You got level 2, level 3 detail. That would be enough for a criminal identification. There's more than enough to run through a database there. You would get a hit if there was another matching print on the database somewhere.
But
does that ridge pattern look like it would be human? I'm legitimately asking because I don't know. Does that look like it could be human? Or
the ridge formation, it doesn't show if it's a loop, an arch, a whirl. It doesn't give anything of that nature. It is so tiny that am I on the camera? My opinion would be, it would be, if it was a fingerprint, well, it's friction ridge, so it is, but a very small portion of the fingertip.
Yeah, just like
the top.
Yeah.
On the top of the tip.
Yeah, the very top.
Like it pointed.
Was it tiny?
Yeah.
Yeah. It would, yeah.
Jeff, there, if you go, I think 2 pictures over there, I think it shows like a cluster of them that see it.
You got some great detail there. And again, that's a wonderful picture.
29 to 32. Okay, yeah, here's another one that was near it.
That's
very thick.
Ridge detail, but that's kind of abnormal ridge detail.
Yeah, it does look, it's very thick.
Well,
there's just so much material there.
It depends on, how much pressure is placed in it as to how thick the ridge details.
Oh, because spread.
Right. It depends on how much pressure is on there. But if that was a fingertip, it's very odd. It's very odd.
It's different than a human kind of.
Yeah.
Different. That's different. That one, that's thinner compared to the other one.
Yeah, I mean, that one I'd be excited about in the field if I got that, because I would be 100% sure to get a hit on that. The other one is kind of... Can we go back to the other one?
Lyndsey likes this other one. Lyndsey likes this one.
That thick ridge in the middle
Yeah,
is kind of odd. Yeah, it's the formation of it. It looks like it's got different bifurcations in there. So just go down a little bit, please, Jeff. Like, it's hard to point, but it looks like you've got a thick ridge, but then it looks like it's got other ridges in there, multiple bifurcations on it, which is odd. Definitely.
Well, one thing I noticed too is it looks so thick. There's so much material left there. That's just so odd.
It's
Right.
I can't think I've ever seen a friction
I agree with David.
ridge that has got so many branches coming off in such a way.
That one's
weird.
That one's very, very intriguing. That one.
That's very weird. That's very interesting.
I was going to mention David is going to be a guest in June. So David will be examining these. He's looked at a few, but he's not really had time to examine them. But we're going to, what did I say? Tomorrow I'm going to mail this whole file to David. So be interesting. The more opinions, the better.
Yeah, these pictures are truly amazing.
4 fingers.
That looks like the same fingerprint dabbed over and over.
Oh yeah, I see. Lyndsey thinks at least the first 3 is the same fingerprint touching it.
Yeah.
Looks like it. Yeah.
Like pointing.
Yeah.
Looks like the same pattern.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
Have you ever smelt the fingerprints, Angie?
I probably did get close enough, but I haven't smelled any odor coming from it.
Somebody had mentioned to me, have you ever tried to take a Geiger counter to them?
No.
I'm just bringing up what somebody texted me.
Yeah, what would that do, I wonder?
I don't know. It would show radiation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're like $20 nowadays. They're not expensive anymore. But somebody, hey, I'm open-minded to anything.
Okay, so this one that Jeff just brought up was on my husband's work van. We'd been hearing thumping outside for like a couple weeks, and then this showed up. I didn't know what it was at first, but after looking at it, it's the back of a hand, like it went, and hit the van.
Right. It's definitely got a different texture, doesn't it?
Do you think that's hair?
I think it's swipe marks.
Swipe, okay.
Yeah.
So I wonder what hair would do to a, like a print like that.
Well, usually hair, it just leaves like a bit of a blank space because
okay.
it's not really, you get a gap in the impression.
Can you zoom in on this one, Jeff? So I do see white, like I'm confused by this one.
Yeah, to me, I see like white coming out of a pore, which would be a strand of hair.
It's an absence. So this was mud, Angie, do you think? Like a mud dirt
what
print?
happened was it was on the van before I knew anything about it. Jim said, that's been there a while. He took it even to the car wash and power washed it.
Oh.
Then, this is after that. And there's still detail in it.
So this is after the car wash. Okay.
Yeah, it was that thick that it didn't come off. Everything else.
I've heard that story 10 times from people. We were camping. We had this white stuff all over our side windows. We took it to the car wash. It was still there.
But I'm sure this got dirt in it, which maybe helped develop it. Because he'd been driving it around.
There's a lot going on in there. I think there's some hair and there's some distortion in there.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
So the brown color is what? The dirty skin oil?
Yes, to me.
So yes, I'm asking you, Angie. What do you think?
Yeah, I would say it's that thick stuff with dirt in it to
Dirt in it. Okay.
to develop,
It's
like
round.
it's brought out detail.
It's on a white car.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's the color of the impression then. It's not been enhanced at all.
No.
That's how it was deposited.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting about leaving this waxy, oily, thick substance? I've got a report in Kentucky of 2 witnesses watch a Bigfoot climb out of the water. You know, it was completely underwater and it came out and it started to run. And he said the hair looked dry. Hair was blowing in the wind, even though it came out of the water. Which alludes to this waxy oil substance.
Right. Like
hair.
it's, what do they call it? Hydrophobic.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't, hydrophobic just means it resists water. It doesn't get wet. That's, you know, people call them the water apes too. And you would think they would have some, like ducks, their feathers don't get wet. You know, it beads up. It beads up from the oils.
This one Jeff just brought out is another palm print, I think. That's what I think.
Yeah, it's got cross hatching, which is consistent with a palm print, particularly around the thumb area.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have this curve in the middle like we do. Mm-hmm. Yeah, look at your palm too. Look, let me see your palm. Most humans have this pattern. I'm totally a layman on this. I'm looking at Lyndsey's palm and my palm. We have 2 big seams across. Look at your palms. You got 2 big seams across the middle. Then you got one curve down, you know, kind of by the thumb. Go down. Look, everybody's got it. Mm-hmm. See it? You got like 2 big seams going across the top, and then 1 or 2 little ones going down. This looks totally different.
Mm-hmm. And we have that M pattern in the middle. Yeah. I can see that on this.
Yeah, it's a partial palm print. You got the cross hatching there, and you got a crease here too.
It looks different than a human.
No, it's not.
To me, it looks like it's really flat against.
That's the kind of thing that I expect to find in the field whilst looking for fingerprints. I'm not saying it's human, but it has very human characteristics.
So Lyndsey, let me interrupt. Wouldn't it be really helpful to you if I sent you like, okay, this is Angie's, here's another guy like New York Todd. He's been collecting these for Legend Meets Science for quite a long time now. He's got the actual, some of the plates. We can actually send you the prints.
Wow.
Like not pictures, but the actual on clear plexiglass. But if you could find like the same kind of patterns on folds and skin, wouldn't that'd be pretty cool?
Yeah, I mean, it is documented. It's palm impressions are documented. Like this is textbook kind of stuff. There is nothing to compare it to, and that's the only thing. So we can't conclusively say it's a Bigfoot.
Right.
But we can't rule it out either.
Right.
It's just, what do we do with it from here on? Look at that.
Yeah, that was on our front door.
3 fingers.
Little fingers.
Those are little fingers.
Yeah, it was maybe 4 or 5 inches. It was hard to measure. I didn't want to mess it up by pushing a ruler against it. So I could only guess. But
did you put your hand next to it? Was it much smaller than your hand?
I can't remember. I put my hand on the window like I said I do, and it didn't make much of a print at all.
Right.
I think it was smaller than mine.
There's some great detail you got in there.
It's so incredible how good that picture is.
Yeah, wonderful pictures. You got some good, sufficient detail in there too, for comparison purposes, at least. Can you just show me the finger again?
Charlie, isn't this cool? It's all real time. Just looking at this
Yeah,
stuff.
Lindsay's never seen these before.
Oh, it's just so cool. I mean, I think this conversation is
And Angie did
amazing
wonderful
to
work
me.
documenting this
Yeah,
stuff.
she did.
And
These pictures are top notch. That's impressive.
and to me, again, it's
See, this one is interesting. This one looks like it's got a loop formation in the fingerprint. That looks like a fingerprint, and it looks like it's got a loop in there. The center part is so distorted that it's not present, but
slid.
the outer edge.
Well, there's more fingerprints here. Let's see if any of these got not much detail there.
Hey, Angie, could you sneak in what kind of camera you used for everybody?
Canon. I have it's an older Canon Rebel T2i, and it's got really good lenses.
And you shoot in like RAW and TIFF.
I shoot in RAW, and then I edit.
Yep.
To bring out the detail, just exposure and stuff.
So what happened to these impressions?
Well, I wish I've asked myself, like with the one with the backhand on the van, that one I did swab it off and I sent it to Doug. Some of these I didn't, and I'm like, why didn't I do that? But you just after a while you just wash it off and move on.
Do you think the Bigfoots are still there on your property?
Oh yeah.
So I wonder if you could, for science sake, leave your garage door open, lock your door to your house, but let's see if they come back.
Oh yeah.
I mean, think about it. If you got them to do this again, that would be significant to get similar prints again.
Like these impressions are so good. I mean, to me, looking at them, they almost look like they're enhanced, like they've been dusted with fingerprint powder already.
Well, that's the beauty of these creatures. They have this extremely thick, waxy, sticky, and that's where I'm so hopeful, Lindsay, that we're going to get a different chemical.
And that's consistent. We've seen so many examples like
consistent.
that of this just super thick
Lindsay,
stuff on there.
If they touch your house, that handprint's going to be there for years.
Right.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you don't want scrub it off, it'll be there.
Have you considered lifting them if it happens again, Angie?
I tried very poorly and it didn't come out.
Yeah.
So I wish somebody could do it that really knew what they were doing.
It takes a little bit of practice, and some of the fingerprint powders that you use are not easy products either. Some of them will completely obliterate. If they're too fine a powder, they'll completely obliterate the print and they'll fill in all the furrows. So you're immediately left with nothing. But there are some great powders that can do wonders. But these impressions that you've got, if I was going to your place as a crime scene, I probably wouldn't have even enhanced them with fingerprint powder. I would have just lifted them as they are. Then I would have swabbed the residue that was left behind.
Okay.
See, right here is pretty consistent. We've seen before. You can see like little globs of whatever material that is. Going on there thick. Like that's consistent. We see that lots, and it's just bizarre.
And what's weird about these ones is that extension looks like fingernails, but it's got that thick white stuff that's in it. If you really zoom in, it looks like it's crystals.
Yeah.
Like
so
tiny
you go to okay, there. That's shows it. I've got better ones than that though. If he moves on, that shows the detail in there.
It almost looks wet, doesn't it? Like there was so much fluid on the hand.
That could be.
I've
never had anybody be able to explain what that is. It almost looks
so
like
amazing.
filling in the between the tip of the finger and like a fingernail. It's like there's something filling that in.
By the way, Sly Fox, you've been nominated as a moderator. He was wondering what his wrench was. I made him a moderator.
Oh, I see. I didn't understand his comment. How that was funny.
Yeah, that's all.
Like that one definitely looks wet. That's got something.
Oh, wet.
That's fluid. That's dried. Yeah.
And what's weird is I took pictures of those prints over a few days, and they started to dissolve and turn to liquid.
Interesting.
Did the temperature change at all? Could it be like fat melting?
Not really, no.
So I want to tell a story real quick that might make sense to everybody. And I heard this from a zoologist who works at a zoo. He said his gorillas came out, a bunch of male gorillas came out of their pen and they were all agitated. He's described from under their armpits white substance coming out so thick it was big bubbles. And they were taking it and smearing it everywhere. So they were agitated, excited, and they were big bubbles. So picture that, Lyndsey. These big white, goosey, greasy bubbles coming out of a gorilla's armpits, and they were smearing it all over them and all over the windows. They said they couldn't clean the windows.
Was it smelly?
I don't know. I failed to ask that damn question. I should have. But so there you go. That was maybe the first time that was witnessed, because I've never heard that ever.
No, I've never heard that. That what's on the screen is fascinating. Like, I have no explanation for what that is.
Yeah, Jeff, can you go down? See that? Yeah.
It almost looks like it froze, like it's ice.
Yeah, that I don't know. It looks I don't know, crystallized. I don't even know what to call it.
In it or something. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, that was crazy.
David did tell me, David Zegan, he did tell me that was it dog saliva? Certain salivas can crystallize because of the salt content. I didn't know that. So there could be salt also in the sebum, high salt, and the salt would then start to crystallize.
Yeah, that's what
So
I was.
that's fascinating. These are all the things we don't know that we're hopefully gonna know.
Because I'm pretty sure there's salt in sweat too. We sweat out salt.
Yes, salt, yes. But they could have high concentrations of salt, more than we do. I don't know.
And it's crystallized, because that's definitely what it looks like on
Yeah.
that image there.
Yeah, I think you're right, Lyndsey.
That was the pointer finger.
See, again, very similar thing there, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How
Was it this
fascinating.
this time of year? Was it winter time?
It was March 31st.
March. Well, could be cold. How cold was it there?
It wasn't extremely cold. That's the pinky, and that's the thumb.
What you believe to be the pinky and the thumb.
Right. I mean, if you go by the hand,
Yeah, right.
formation, that's what it looks like.
What?
Why don't we do this? I have an idea. Okay.
Lines. That
I have
line
an-
is weird.
I have an idea. Jeff, why don't we flip through them quick and let Lyndsey and Raymond, Charlie tell you to go, hey, that looks interesting. I'm changing your name, Charlie.
Like, for the better.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Raymond's way better.
What was in your car? Like, what do you think? What did you have in your car that they were so curious?
I think they just like to examine the car itself.
It's,
you know,
it's
just
like a little kid. They're tactile. They want to touch everything.
Yeah.
Like I was watching my granddaughter rubbing her hand on a carpet that she doesn't have in her own house, right? They have wood floors everywhere. But she came to the carpet on the stairs. It was quite thick, and she was just rubbing her hand. You feel it. And I think that's kind of what they're doing.
Hmm.
Think. I don't know, but
Yeah, that's a poem to me that looked more human, but nobody touched it that we knew of,
Mm,
that would be logical.
yeah.
I mean, it doesn't look totally human to me, but it looks more human-like.
I wouldn't, if I saw that out in the field, I wouldn't be disturbed by it. I would just think it's a partial palm print. That's not to say it's human at all, because I'm pretty sure, I believe that their palm prints, their fingerprints are going to be very similar to ours. So
Mhm.
I'm not surprised by that.
One thing that I mentioned in one of those clips was that they're not human and they're not a gorilla. They're something of their own species. So it's not going to be human. It's not going to be gorilla. It's not going to look like either one. It's going to look like something else, similar but not the same.
Yeah.
Mary Jo has a great. They could be looking at their own reflection
Yeah.
and then trying to touch themselves.
Oh, look at that one.
That one was big on the trash can.
Yeah, that's good.
It's like it kind of went down.
Is it enhanced at all, or is that how it was?
That's how it was.
Yeah, see, that white substance, that's not a human characteristic unless there is an alternative, unless it's a contamination.
Like you got something on your hand, like really thick or something.
Well, if they're secreting stuff out of their armpits and rubbing it, maybe it's a good insect repellent that protects their skin.
Yeah.
Maybe they just like rubbing it all. Maybe they get agitated when they approach a home. They get excited, they get scared, and they start producing this stuff.
Well, plus it's an explanation of the famous stench. That whatever that oil is,
it's just
mixing with
theory,
water.
Obviously, I have no idea. But
if you mix that with water, it'll ferment.
These are all good theories or little things to think about. But yeah, look how white they are. But this is not uncommon, Lyndsey. It's kind of everywhere. Hey, Charlie, have you ever found, a print? Have you guys ever found anything on your cars? Ever?
I laugh because almost every expedition, somebody's got a handprint on their back window.
Okay, good night, everybody.
Without fail.
I rest my case.
To be honest, these are newbies. They, the power of suggestion, Bigfoot in the brain.
Yeah.
And it happens every time. I believe it's just their own print on their window.
Right, it gets covered with dust from the dusty road going in.
They're smaller. They look like human. These look different, though. There's a lot of these that Angie has, from what I've seen of human prints on Bigfoot expeditions that look human. A lot of hers look different to me. So.
That was a really good. I'm glad we got that out of the way. That if you drive in and your car's clean and you drive in on a dusty road, the dust will stick to the oils of a human fingerprint.
Yeah.
Big time.
And then you just lift the dust off.
Yeah.
That was it on the front of the trash can. It's like they touched it.
Yeah. See, that's different than a dusty fingerprint.
This was that first one that I found on the paper. And I think it looks like part of a palm. The good stuff was down in the bottom right-hand corner. And where
was this paper left?
On our back porch, which is, they kind of brought, I started gifting on our property clear at the back on a fallen down log. And they brought the gifting to our porch. They took something from back there and put it on our back porch. So that was like, what? They know where the stars, it's just.
You still have that paper?
Yes, I do.
Because it can be enhanced. Chemicals would bring out friction ridge detail in the paper. if it was to be submitted to a lab or somebody with those chemicals able to do it.
Yeah, I saved it.
There's other ways to do it too. Sometimes, I mean, it's been a while, so I wouldn't imagine regular dusting would be sufficient. Even magnetic powder, I don't think you would get anywhere with it, but chemicals might still bring something out in it. It would be worth a shot. But...
Yeah.
Is there any pictures you want to revisit here? That was all of them. Any you wanted to revisit here, Angie?
Yeah, but there'd be way too many.
Yeah.
We'll let them pick.
Those are incredible. I mean, those are just absolutely incredible. Just the quality of those pictures is amazing.
Yeah, you did a great job.
Yeah,
It's
it's
great
impressive.
job on those.
I worked hard taking it. A lot of times they'll show up in the summertime, so I'm out there sweating. It's so hot in the garage, and I'm taking the pictures. So yeah, but it's worth it.
Are you getting orientation shots too? So further out so that you can see where the impression is on the vehicle or where.
Yeah, usually I'll do a video of it. Like I'll do a video and I'll take pictures.
Yeah, good.
So like I've got a whole catalog of pictures that hasn't been shown here. Tons.
Yeah.
Well, just so everybody knows, I've sent Lyndsey everything that I'm aware of. I will get you as many things as you want, including stuff from many other people, because there's a very, similar look to them from a layman's point of view. They look white. That's about all I can tell you. They look white.
The one thing that I saw somebody else had, I think it was in Texas, there was a print on I think it was their lawnmower or something. And the ones with the extensions of mine, where it's like, you don't know what that stuff is. His had the same like extension looking thing. It wasn't as clear, but you could see that that's what it was.
Looks like there's a substance that's on the fingertips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's an extension of some sort there. Like, what is it?
Right. Like there's distortion, there's smearing, but on the pictures that you've got, it looks like there's an excessive amount of fluid, whatever that fluid is. If it's sweat or sebation oils or whatever, there is an excessive amount of it, is what it looks like.
If it was smeared, would it have the detail? Because you can see the flow pattern and stuff.
Right. It sometimes depends on the level of distortion that's involved. You can still get some friction ridge detail when the impression, the digit stops moving. You can still get some. Every print is going to be different. So
see, the comment here, finding the trackway. He's recorded something opening his door. The door latches to his truck, his tailgate, grabbing the door latches to cars. I've had that happen twice. Once with Lyndsey, once I was by myself.
Yeah, that's right.
In the winter, it was in the winter in West Virginia in a remote campground. I was the only one in the campground in the wintertime, the far back of the campground in my tent, and a herd of deer were between my tent and the bathhouse. And I had to walk through the deer and literally push the deer out of the way to get to the bathhouse, right? So I go back to my tent and I'd fall asleep and a Bigfoot howl, typical Ohio howl, comes from the back of the campground, startles me, wakes me up completely. I'm sitting there listening. I hear something, heavy bipedal footsteps, walk up to my car, and I hear the door handle of my car, like it tried to open my door handle, my door. And I looked the next day and I didn't see anything, obvious. But they do like to try to open door handles.
Yeah, you see the comment from David, Charlie. David goes, "Yeah, got a recording of something attempting to open my locked car."
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, the handprint that was on our front door, that's the outside like screen door, but it has glass. So I think that was December, so it was cold. But I put a recorder out on our front porch, just I don't know, a couple weeks before, and you could hear them turning the doorknob with a squeak, that specific squeak of a doorknob. And so yeah. So then when I found the print, it was like, yeah, I guess they were messing around with the door.
Definitely get some swabs, because the fingerprints are wonderful. You've done such a great job photographing them, and you've got that record forever. But once you can't never wash your car again, I would always try and get a swab taken as well, and a sterile swab. Do the whole shebang. Wear the gloves. Don't touch the interior of the, prevent contamination any which way possible you can, but always get a swab, because that the oils, the sweat, the sloughed off skin cells, it's easy to get DNA from that. If we can't compare it to anything, at least we can say, well,
rule out.
Yeah.
Human.
But see, here's where it's so cool, Lyndsey. It's 3D evidence. You have the latent details, you have DNA possibly, and you have the chemical compounds. If we can do all three things on a regular basis to some of these good handprints that we find all over, you would think that would raise the bar a bit. You would think.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's evidence that's been overlooked and ignored for too long.
Yes.
And it's such an easy thing that we can collect and have analyzed. Like it's right there. It's at our fingertips. No pun intended. But it's easy to collect. The only thing that needs to be stressed over and over and over is you have to prevent any possibility of cross-contamination.
Yeah.
You've got to wear the gloves, can't get no potential human cells in that DNA sample whatsoever. So that's the trickiest thing. But
that's a challenge, because we're all spraying dust off our bodies.
Yeah, and that would be, easiest thing for anybody to just dismiss whatever evidence is found in this way. They're just going to say, it's contaminated.
Yeah, right.
Lack of experience. They didn't know what they were doing. They, touched something they shouldn't have touched, that kind of thing. So that's why I always say, do what you're doing, Angie. Video everything, photograph everything, document everything. So it's harder to rebut, when they come for you, because they will. They will.
What is the scariest or weirdest story, hard to get out of your head? Because you guys interview a lot of witnesses, and I've told Charlie, I said, you realize how important this is. I mean, the fact you're just not writing it down, you're actually interviewing them. So you're creating history, and more people need to do that. But is there one story that you guys kind of just can't get out of your head because it just bugs you because it's so freaky, or the witness was so traumatized? Is there something that you've experienced in a witness that's kind of got you all shook up?
Well, there's many.
Tell us one.
The one I'll tell you real quick, and it has to do with this fingerprints and arm prints on vehicles. It ties in. There's a gentleman in Davis County, Kentucky. This is back when he was a young boy. In Kentucky, teenagers would go for joyrides on the weekend, nothing to do. And they went out joyriding, and they were hungry. So they wanted to go to Sally's house, some girl's house, to knock on her bedroom window so she would bring them some food. So when they got there, they said, don't pull up in her driveway or her dad will kill us. Park way down on the dirt road here, and then we will walk up to her bedroom window and knock on it and ask her to bring us some food. But they left young Jack in the truck. And Jack was scared. He did not want to be left alone. And he said, well, Jack, you're fine. We'll be right back. So Jack sat in the driver's seat. This is an old truck back in the day. So those old trucks, there's lots of room under the floorboard, you know. So Jack was sitting there, no cell phones back then. And it was a full moon. And he sees someone or something walking across the field. And he goes, oh my gosh, I hope that's not a person. And I hope he doesn't come my way. Well, sure enough, it comes across the field, gets on the dirt road, and starts walking towards the truck. And as it gets closer, it's getting bigger and bigger. And he can tell from the moonlight, it was covered in hair. It was not a person. And when it got about 30 feet from the truck, Jack knew what it was, a monster back in the day. And he laid on the horn. And when he did that, the creature squatted down and it scooped the gravel from the road with his hand, like a gorilla, you know, would scoop the gravel. And then Jack slid under that floor, you know, the steering wheel down on the floorboard, and he hid. And it got real quiet. And he was listening. The only thing he could hear was his heart beating, he said. And all of a sudden, there was a smack on the front windshield. And I've got an artist, Terry Thomas, in our organization. He drew a sketch of it. And he said, Jack looked up at the windshield. The entire arm went across the front windshield. And he said he can see the perspiration from the moonlight as it was pressed against the windshield through the hair. So he could see that, the detail. And then he turned to his left, and in the passenger window, the entire window was the face of a Bigfoot.
Jeez.
And again, we have a sketch of this because Terry talked to him and did a nice sketch of it. He said he was so scared. The interesting thing he said, and I've heard this from other witnesses, he said a sense of calm came over him when he looked into its eyes, the big black eyes, the wide hooded nose, the thin lips, typical Bigfoot. When he looked into its eyes, a sense of calm came over him for about 30 seconds, say. He said, but then it opened its mouth and I can see the saliva spread between its teeth. I got scared again and I blew the horn and the creature took off, and thank goodness my friends came back. His testimony is on our YouTube channel. I interviewed him now as an adult telling that story, and you can hear the emotion, the detail in his voice. We did sketches of the face, the arm, and the windshield, but it's kind of related a little bit to the story about pressing their body parts up against car windows.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Very similar. Very similar. Yeah, you do such an amazing job, Charlie and Lyndsey. I see you all the time now. You're joining Charlie in more and more of these video interviews and expeditions. It's so cool. It really is. You guys are lucky.
Need more females like Angie and Lyndsey involved in this.
More perspectives. Yep.
Yeah.
Angie, have you seen one on your property?
Yes, we've seen them, but not that like really good look. I'm still waiting for that really good look. You know, it's like glimpses or distant or on thermal. I've seen them on thermal several times.
You've got a YouTube channel. You're on YouTube?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd seen you on YouTube. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, I keep it like I started like way back before the channel. I started documenting everything in like a diary written. And then that somebody talked me into making my YouTube channel, a friend. And so then I had to transfer all that information to video. And then I started doing it through video.
Right. White Bigfoot. And
yeah.
Was that a few years ago when you started a YouTube channel?
It was 2017.
Right. I think I remember seeing it a few years ago. Like when I was up in Canada, I was aware of Snow White Bigfoot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so going back a few years.
I love the name too.
That is
Yeah.
a great name.
Well, what's so cool about a YouTube channel, even for you guys? You're documenting and organizing all of this footage. And for Angie, she didn't do it to really even to maybe to share it, but she did it to just kind of document everything. It's a big diary, all in one place. It's a great depository.
Yes.
It really is.
I do enjoy sharing the experiences with people that
Yeah.
are, you know, like appreciate it or are interested, because it's really cool, you know, what's going on. And I like to share.
Angie's had a lot of gifting and stuff, and I don't think you guys don't do gifting, or do you?
Not right now. I mean, we've moved a couple of times in the last year. So now that we're getting settled, we might.
But I have spoken to witnesses that experience gifting. I'll share one quick one.
Yeah.
To wrap it up.
Yep.
This one happened in Kentucky, and her husband saw one cross the road by their house. So Don, Neal, myself went out there and we did the full write-up interview of the road crossing, right? Well, then they started receiving gifts in their backyard. Now, where they live is very remote. There's a national forest, just thousands of acres behind their home. And they would find children's toys in the back corner of their yard. And they have no neighbors. And then they would find railroad parts. The nearest train track was 12 miles away. And she's like, who's putting these railroad parts in toys? I said, well, it could be the Bigfoots. You know, they gift. And I told her, put some apples on your picnic table. And, you know, other animals take apples too. But she did that. And the next day, they were all gone. Every apple, no trace of them. So here's what happened. Maybe not even a week later, this was in the fall. And you know how you rake up big pile of leaves in your yard? They have big pile of leaves in their yard. And her kids were playing in the leaves. And her and her husband were over by the fire burning some cardboard boxes. And her daughter screams and then jumps up and runs in the house. And all her friends follow her into the house. And the mom's like, oh my gosh, what happened? She goes in and she said, someone threw something at me from the woods. And she lifted up her shirt and she had a big red welt on her side. So mom's like, oh my gosh. They walked back out there. One of those apples was laying there. It had hair on it. It had fine hair on the apple. She took pictures of it. I've got pictures of the apple with the hair. I've got pictures of her daughter's side with the welt. I told her to send the hairs to Meldrum. This was years ago. She got a letter back from him. There's an email. Unknown primate. The hairs were unknown primate on that apple. And we don't think the Bigfoot was trying to be malicious or trying to hurt the child. We think maybe the Bigfoot was playing, you know, just trying to toss the apple to the kids. But that's a fascinating story because she took documentation. She took pictures like Angie did and documented the whole thing.
Nice.
Crazy. Very crazy. All right, we gotta wrap it up. Thank you so much, Lyndsey. Thank you, Charlie, for letting me change your name. Thank you for coming on.
Sure.
You guys are amazing. You really are, and you're both very, very lucky. So I hope you know that. Right?
Thanks. I gotta remind her of that every day.
Yeah, yes. Just Lyndsey. Just you're the lucky one, not Charlie.
Hey,
Oh,
guys.
real quick before we check out too, I'll give Lyndsey a quick chance to talk about this. Just want to plug that. Real quick.
Yes, yeah, her book.
Thank you. Yes. So we did this on our Bigfoot Hangout last night too. So people probably don't know this on your channel about me. Most of them probably never have heard of me. But alongside Bigfoot, I love keeping chickens, and I've been doing it for a few years now. It's a big passion of mine. I'm also very spiritual at heart, and I put all of that together in a book called The Soul of the Coop, and it's about finding peace, purpose, and presence in the hen house. It's a wonderful guide to finding inspiration from the coop and bringing it back into your own way of life. So thank you for plugging that. It dropped on Amazon earlier.
I pulled that picture off of Amazon, so it's there.
Yeah, so I'm very proud of it.
Nothing to do with Bigfoot, nothing to do with chickens. It's just about life in general.
It is a lot to do with chickens.
Oh, it does?
Charlie, you're just wrong.
I can't find her. When I can't find her, she's out in the chicken coop. You know how guys go to their garage? When we want to get away, we go to our garage.
Yep.
She goes to the chicken coop.
Yeah. That's good.
It's my happy place.
No, that's cool. It's neat. It's amazing you wrote a book and it looks beautiful.
Thank you. I put my heart into it. So
very cool.
I've had a couple of people read it. I've had some good initial feedback. I don't know if they're just being kind, but
it just came out.
But I've had people read it before I got it live.
You might want to give it a week.
Yeah. But if it starts tanking, I'm just going to kind of quietly.
No. You never know. That could be the next Chicken Soup for Your Soul book.
Yeah.
Right.
They sold millions. I love it.
I think it's a great idea.
Could sell millions of them, Lyndsey.
There's lots. I know I'm not the only chicken lover. There's lots of feather mamas out there. So I'm trying to reach them and connect with them.
Well, I hope Bigfoot doesn't get into your chicken coop. So let's pray that doesn't happen. And with that, we have a little fun wisdom of the week we want to end you with. So we're going to play that. Stick around. We're going to come right back and then say our good nights. And we'll be back in 1 second.
All right.
Here is a bit of wisdom everyone can use. Remember, it is important to always be nice to anyone that has access to your toothbrush. Good night.
I like that one, Doug. That's a good one.
Yeah. Remember that, Charlie.
Right.
Yeah. You know, the interesting thing, real quick, there was a TV show, I can't think of it, but anyway, they would debunk Mythbusters. Okay.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
They did one of a bathroom, and when you flush the toilet, a lot of that bacteria would come up and get on your toothbrush. Your toothbrush had the most bacteria on it, so always put the lid down when you flush your toilet.
Before you flush. That's good advice.
Yes.
Yep, that's you're right. And the amount of spray that comes off. Pretty bad. But anyhow, but that wisdom of the week is very true. Be nice to anybody that's got access to your toothbrush. With that, thank you so much, Angie.
Thank you both.
For all the time you guys spent. Thank you so much, Lyndsey. So great meeting you. Thank you, Charlie, as always. And we love you guys, and we love everybody in chat. I think it was a great show. Thanks.
Absolutely.
We'll see you next week. Good night.
Night, everybody.
Night.
I call you up in the middle of the night. Been bothered by dreams, ain't feeling alright. You give me comfort, say just give it some time. By the end of our talk,